What is going on? Everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is absolutely the craziest day in NFL history. And I am not even exaggerating right now, because what just happened is something that nobody saw coming, and yet everybody has been dreaming about for years and years and years. If you are a Dallas Cowboys fan right now, I know you are shaking, I know you are screaming, I know you might even be crying tears of pure joy, because the news that just broke is the kind of news that changes everything, and I mean absolutely everything for this franchise, for this fan base, and honestly, for the entire National Football League. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you that it is officially confirmed. Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, has signed Mike Tomlin as the new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And this is not a rumor. This is not speculation. This is not some random report from an unknown source. This is confirmed. This is done. This is real. And the Dallas Cowboys finally have their guy. Now let me take you through exactly how this all went down, because the behind-the-scenes story of how this deal came together is just as fascinating as the announcement itself. For weeks now, there have been whispers circulating around the NFL that the Dallas Cowboys were looking for a new head coach, and everybody had their list of candidates. Everybody had their opinions about who Jerry Jones should hire, and there were so many names being thrown around, from college coaches to former NFL coaches to up-and-coming coordinators. But the one name that kept coming back over and over and over again was Mike Tomlin. Now, when those rumors first started, I will be completely honest with you, I dismissed them. I thought there was absolutely no way that Mike Tomlin would leave Pittsburgh. I thought there was no chance that the Steelers would let him go. And I thought there was no realistic scenario where Mike Tomlin would end up in Dallas. But I was wrong, and I am man enough to admit that I was completely and totally wrong, because here we are, and Mike Tomlin is officially a Dallas Cowboy. The way this deal came together is actually incredible, and speaks to the determination and the desperation and the passion of Jerry Jones. According to multiple insiders and people who are close to the situation, Jerry Jones initiated contact with Mike Tomlin's representatives approximately 3 weeks ago, and at that time, the conversations were very preliminary, they were exploratory in nature, and both sides were just trying to gauge whether or not there was mutual interest. But Jerry Jones, being Jerry Jones, he did not want to just have a phone call. He did not want to just send a text message. He did not want to handle this through agents and intermediaries. No, Jerry Jones got on his private jet and flew out personally to meet with Mike Tomlin face to face. And this is where the story gets really good, because according to reports, Jerry Jones and Mike Tomlin sat down together for over 6 hours. 6 hours of conversation about football, about philosophy, about culture, about the future of the Dallas Cowboys, about what it would take to bring a championship back to Dallas. And by the end of that meeting, both men knew that this was the right move. Jerry Jones reportedly looked at Mike Tomlin and said, "I need you to help me bring a Lombardi trophy back to Dallas." And Mike Tomlin reportedly looked right back at Jerry Jones and said, "That is exactly what I plan to do." Now, the contract details on this deal are absolutely insane, and they tell you everything you need to know about how serious Jerry Jones is about making this work. Mike Tomlin has signed a 5-year contract with the Dallas Cowboys, and the total value of this deal is reportedly in the range of $80 to $90 million, which would make Mike Tomlin one of the highest-paid coaches in the history of the National Football League. But it does not stop there, because built into this contract are significant performance-based incentives that could push the total value well over $100 million. There are bonuses for making the playoffs. There are bonuses for winning the division. There are bonuses for reaching the conference championship. And yes, there are massive bonuses for winning the Super Bowl. Jerry Jones is essentially telling Mike Tomlin, "I will pay you like a king, but I expect you to deliver a championship." And knowing Mike Tomlin's track record, knowing his competitive fire, knowing his refusal to accept mediocrity, I think that is a bet that Jerry Jones is going to win. But here is the part of this deal that I think is the most significant and the most telling and the most impactful for the future of this franchise. As part of the contract negotiations, Mike Tomlin reportedly secured a significant level of autonomy and control over football operations. Now, if you know anything about Jerry Jones, you know that he has always been an extremely hands-on owner. He has always been involved in every single decision, from draft picks to free agency signings to roster cuts to game day decisions. Jerry Jones has always had his fingerprints all over everything that happens with the Dallas Cowboys, and many people believe that his inability to step back and let football people make football decisions is the primary reason why the Cowboys have not won a Super Bowl since 1996. But with this hire, something has changed. Something fundamental has shifted, because Mike Tomlin reportedly has final say over the 53-man roster. Mike Tomlin reportedly has major input into draft selections. Mike Tomlin reportedly has the authority to hire and fire his own coaching staff without interference from ownership. And Mike Tomlin reportedly has the freedom to implement his own system, his own culture, his own way of doing things, without Jerry Jones looking over his shoulder and second-guessing every single decision. If all of that is true, and I believe it is, then this is not just a coaching hire. This is a complete and total philosophical shift for the Dallas Cowboys organization. This is Jerry Jones finally admitting that the way he has been doing things for the last 30 years has not worked. This is Jerry Jones swallowing his pride, setting aside his ego, and saying, I need to trust someone else to run the football side of this operation. And that in and of itself is remarkable. That in and of itself is newsworthy. That in and of itself gives me more hope for the future of the Dallas Cowboys than anything else. Because if Jerry Jones can truly step back and let Mike Tomlin be Mike Tomlin, then the ceiling for this franchise is limitless. Now let me talk about why Mike Tomlin specifically is such an incredible hire for the Dallas Cowboys, because I think some people might not fully appreciate just how remarkable this man's resume is. Mike Tomlin took over as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2007, when he was just 34 years old, making him one of the youngest head coaches in NFL history at that time. People doubted him. People questioned whether he was ready. People said he was too young, too inexperienced, too unproven to lead a storied franchise like the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what did Mike Tomlin do in response to all of that doubt and all of that criticism? He went out and won a Super Bowl in just his second season as head coach. At the age of 36, Mike Tomlin became the youngest head coach ever to win a Super Bowl at that time. And he did it by beating the Arizona Cardinals in one of the most thrilling Super Bowls ever played with that incredible Santonio Holmes catch in the corner of the end zone that every football fan remembers. But the Super Bowl win is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Mike Tomlin's accomplishments. The thing that truly sets him apart from every other coach in the NFL is his consistency. In his entire tenure as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin never once had a losing season. Let me say that again, because I really want it to sink in. In nearly 2 decades of coaching in the NFL, Mike Tomlin never once finished a season with a losing record. He never had a season where his team won fewer games than it lost. Every single year, no matter what the roster looked like, no matter what injuries they dealt with, no matter what controversies arose, no matter what challenges they faced, Mike Tomlin found a way to win. He did it with Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks, and he did it with guys who had no business starting in the NFL. He did it with stacked rosters, and he did it with rosters that were clearly inferior to the competition. He did it year after year after year with a level of consistency that is almost impossible to comprehend in a league that is specifically designed for parity and turnover. And that consistency, that relentless refusal to accept losing, that unwavering standard of excellence, is exactly what the Dallas Cowboys need. Because if we are being honest, the Cowboys have been one of the most frustrating franchises in all of professional sports for the last quarter century. They have had moments of brilliance. They have had flashes of greatness. They have had regular seasons where they looked like legitimate Super Bowl contenders. But when it mattered most, when the pressure was highest, when the stakes were biggest, the Cowboys have consistently come up short. They have been bounced from the playoffs in heartbreaking fashion time and time again. They have underperformed relative to their talent level. They have lacked discipline. They have lacked toughness. They have lacked the kind of mental fortitude that championship teams possess. And all of those shortcomings can be traced back to one thing: coaching. The Cowboys have not had a coach who could instill that championship mentality, that winning culture, that refusal to accept anything less than the absolute best. Until now. Because Mike Tomlin brings all of those things and more. Let me talk about what this hire means for the specific players on the Cowboys roster, because I think this is where the excitement really starts to build. Let us start with Dak Prescott, the quarterback, because the quarterback is the most important player on any football team. And the relationship between the head coach and the quarterback is the most important relationship in any organization. Dak Prescott is a talented quarterback. There is no question about that. He has a strong arm. He is athletic. He is a leader in the locker room. And he has shown the ability to put up big numbers and make big plays. But Dak has also been inconsistent at times. He has struggled in the biggest moments. He has made costly mistakes in playoff games. And there has been a lingering question throughout his career about whether he can be the guy to lead the Cowboys to a Super Bowl. Well, I believe that Mike Tomlin is the coach who can unlock Dak Prescott's full potential. Think about what Tomlin did with Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. He took a talented but sometimes frustrating quarterback, and he maximized his abilities. He put him in positions to succeed. He built an offense that played to his strengths while minimizing his weaknesses. He challenged him, pushed him, held him accountable, and ultimately helped him become one of the most successful quarterbacks of his generation. I believe Mike Tomlin can do the exact same thing with Dak Prescott. Under Tomlin's guidance, I expect Dak to play with more confidence, more poise, more consistency, and more urgency than we have ever seen from him before. And if Dak can elevate his game to that next level, then the Cowboys are going to be a very, very dangerous team. Now, let us talk about the defense, because this is where Mike Tomlin's impact could be the most dramatic and the most immediate. Tomlin is a defensive coach at his core. His background is in defense. He was a defensive backs coach and a defensive coordinator before he became a head coach. His defensive philosophy is built around aggression, physicality, and relentless pressure. His defenses in Pittsburgh were always among the most feared units in the NFL. They were tough, they were disciplined, they were physical, and they hit you in the mouth, play after play after play. Now imagine that defensive philosophy being applied to a Cowboys defense that already has Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is without question one of the most talented and most dominant defensive players in the entire NFL. He is a once-in-a-generation type of talent who can rush the passer play in coverage, make tackles in the backfield, and completely take over a football game. But under Mike Tomlin's defensive system, Micah Parsons has the potential to reach an entirely new level of dominance. Tomlin knows how to use versatile defensive players. He knows how to scheme pressure. He knows how to put his best players in positions where they can wreak havoc on opposing offenses. Micah Parsons under Mike Tomlin is a terrifying combination for every single offensive coordinator in the NFL, and I genuinely believe that Parsons could win Defensive Player of the Year multiple times under Tomlin's coaching. And it is not just Micah Parsons who is going to benefit. The entire defensive unit is going to be transformed. The defensive linemen are going to play with more aggression and more technique. The linebackers are going to be more disciplined and more physical. The secondary is going to be tighter in coverage and more aggressive in their approach. Mike Tomlin is going to take whatever defensive talent the Cowboys have, and he is going to squeeze every last drop of potential out of them. That is what he does. That is who he is. That is why he has never had a losing season. On the offensive side of the ball, we also need to talk about CeeDee Lamb, because CeeDee is one of the most dynamic and explosive wide receivers in the entire NFL, and under Mike Tomlin's system, he has the potential to have the best seasons of his career. Tomlin has always known how to use elite playmakers. In Pittsburgh, he maximized the talents of receivers like Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, and he always found creative ways to get the ball to his best offensive weapons. CeeDee Lamb is going to be the centerpiece of the Cowboys' offense under Tomlin, and I expect him to be featured in a variety of ways that we have not seen before. Deep routes, short routes, screens, jet sweeps, you name it. CeeDee is going to get the ball and he is going to make plays. Looking ahead to the future, I genuinely believe that the Dallas Cowboys under Mike Tomlin are going to be must-see television every single week. The energy at AT&T Stadium is going to be electric. The intensity at practice is going to be through the roof. The standard of excellence that Tomlin demands is going to permeate every single aspect of this organization, from the players to the coaches to the front office to the equipment managers. As Tomlin himself has said countless times, the standard is the standard. And in Dallas, the standard is championships. Cowboys fans, I know you have been waiting a long time for this moment. I know you have been through years of heartbreak and disappointment and frustration. I know you have watched other teams celebrate championships while your team has fallen short time and time again. But today is a new day. Today marks the beginning of a new era. Today, Mike Tomlin walked into AT&T Stadium, put on that Cowboys hat, and declared that he is here to bring a championship back to Dallas. And if there is any coach in the NFL who can deliver on that promise, it is Mike Tomlin. So let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts on this hire? If you are a Cowboys fan, tell me how you are feeling right now. If you are a fan of another NFC East team, tell me if you are worried, because you should be. If you are a Steelers fan, tell me how you are coping, because I know this is tough for you, and I respect that. Drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that bell notification, because we are going to be covering this story extensively in the coming days and weeks, with coaching staff updates, roster moves, free agency signings, draft analysis, and everything else you need to know about the Mike Tomlin era in Dallas. Thank you so much for watching, thank you for being part of this community, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out, everybody, and as always, keep it locked right here, because the Dallas Cowboys are back and they are coming for everything.